There's that show, August Osage County,
Uh-huh.
where the dad is in the first 15 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
And then he's not in the rest of the show. It's a 3.5 hour play. Jesus. And when I went and saw it, I noticed you didn't take a bow. And I was like, that's an amazing contract. That guy
he gets to leave.
Has to be there for half an hour, does the first 15 minutes, gets a great monologue, and then leaves. And is done by 7:15.
You don't think that, does he ever go, I want some applause?
I'm sure for
He
opening night, or if there's going to be a party afterwards, I'm sure he stays some nights. Probably can go and come back, It's
incredible when you're younger to be like, oh, this is my dream. And then you get to an age where you're like, I want to experience my dream as little as humanly possible.
Yeah, definitely. And just make as much money off of it.
Yeah.
For those of you at home, no, we do not have a horse on the podcast today. That is Russell eating carrots on the mic. On the mic. Yeah, we're recording. Yeah. Oh, great. We're here with our sub-producer, David, doing a great job. Doing a great job. I'm here with my co-host, Russell Daniels.
Hi.
And I should have said Coster, yeah?
Yeah.
We're here with a comedian, Rachel Coster. We'll get to you in a second. We just announced the tour 2 episodes ago now, but they're still on sale. Get the tickets. I'm really excited.
Get those tickets.
God damn, I'm scared. Some of these rooms are too big. Too big. I was like, this is the smallest room, 250 seats?
Yeah,
we have 50 listeners.
Yeah.
Bring friends. 4 friends each, please.
Baltimore, Boston, DC.
Oh,
right?
Fuck, yeah.
And New York.
And New York.
Yeah,
there you go.
yeah.
Toronto is selling real well, I got to tell you.
Wait, when is Toronto?
No. It's not on the books.
Oh.
I'm saying we should add a Toronto.
Oh, my God.
Oh, my God, the horror.
I was like, what are
we... this is a place, if you've never been here before, it's a place to complain. It's a place to be negative. It's a place... You know what's been interesting, I got to say, in past... global tragedies, countrywide tragedies. With social media, we did a thing of how are you're gonna post about your clips right now? I feel like especially during Black Lives Matter, there was a degree. And I think we, without discussing it, have all agreed that we can just intermingle dumb, silly jokes
no separation anymore
with some of the most tragic posts of all time. And I don't know if that's good. It's all bad.
Totally.
But we had to. It's just social media had to go on.
I think it was
clearly.
too, because then what would happen is you'd be like, okay, we're measuring the tragedies. This tragedy gets more time than other tragedies. Yeah. And now it's a little
and it's just unsustainable. Life has to be both. I mean, it doesn't have to be, but the good, sorry for jumping in, but the good stuff, you need some good stuff. Otherwise the bad stuff is so crushing that you would just never leave bed. So it's you can hold space for the stuff that's so horrible and also be it's a really nice day out and I want to have a good time with my friends.
It's just brutal. It's just brutal. The contrast where it'll be a post of Israel kills 130 Palestinians, and then the next slide is speaking of 130 tickets still left from our show.
Yeah, that's bad. Yeah,
that's scary.
Don't do
but that's
that.
what happened. No. But I'm saying that's. But it might have it's so close to each other.
Yeah, definitely.
That it's there's sometimes I'm like oh wait a couple hours before I try to push the 4th Toronto show. But it's just you can't control.
It's hard.
So
because then when people are looking at it, they're not seeing it always that 4 hours. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
they're not checking your things right away in real time. So
I save it for later.
You save it for later?
Every time you post, save it for later. I gotta watch Gianmarco's at the end of the day. That's the best stuff. That's my treat movie. Before bed.
But in a way, it's I don't know what it is. It's it's either tragedies with commercials of my stand-up or stand-up with commercials of the most brutal
But it's
tragedies.
no different than the news. They have commercials still,
Sure.
So,
yeah. Speaking of just brutal tragedy, so I was in Baltimore. I did some shows in Baltimore, and I went to this museum called the Great Blacks in Wax Museum, and it's I was just curious. It sounded like a different museum than normal, and it's a wax museum that really just goes through the Black experience from being brought to America as slaves, and then like all the way through. You know, it's just one of these museums. It starts brutal, and it's brutal throughout, but at the end, there's Obama on a stage, and you go, okay, good.
Yeah,
but it was one of the most. There's not going to be a lot of comedy here. I can see everyone scared, everyone just terrified. But it was such a good museum that I can't believe they didn't bring me to, having grown up in Maryland, where it was like, ask, please.
I think the name is misleading. It's a funny name.
Yes, it's too whimsical for like the seriousness of the history.
Yeah, I think that is probably misleading people. It's
well, you
not
know what?
getting its
You know what I
full
think?
due
But you know what I think?
that
Good.
yes.
I think it is, honestly.
Oh, you want people to be
think,
tricked. Yeah,
I think there
okay.
is a degree of like good. And you hear wax, and when I think wax, I think
we think of the celebrities, Madame
Tussauds.
Tussauds.
Yeah.
And this is like the first thing that's in wax that you see is like two white people force feeding someone who was their slave, and it's like this right out the gate.
God.
And there is a, and I promise we'll lighten it up after this, but I just wanted to.
Did that?
Yeah,
I'm just kidding.
Russell's one of these. Slavery wasn't real.
No.
But at one point there's a recreation of a slave ship, and I did hit my head on the door going in, and I was like, well, I better keep this one to myself.
Yeah.
Yeah. As far as suffering in the slave ship goes, God, I gotta stop doing that.
Who built this? Oh, right, my bad. But it was like, it's one of these museums where it makes me think about it in terms of what's going on with Palestine, and the degree of and I checked your Twitter before I fully like let myself speak freely.
Oh yeah, free Palestine.
Yeah. Listen, it's not with all the guests apparently.
That's
not with all the guests apparently.
We usually get a
Let me tell you, the closest I've ever felt to
Yeah.
censorship is conversations with certain guests previous and wanting to scrub them from the roster. It makes me so mad. But it's this degree of like, I feel like it's the same thing where people go, oh, what's happening is awful. And it's like, no. Saying that sentence is not enough. And it's the same thing. with slavery. With slavery, there's a degree of like, I know it was awful. And it's like, you don't. You should.
And that caveat is used to then like be like put a period or be like a but. Like it's just meant to be like, yeah, there's always a but afterwards, or the feeling of a but. Where like, okay, like
it's just the idea of like, you can say like, you should be forced to confront, to at least read about like what it is being spoken of. And honestly, being in this museum, it made me go like, it made you think about like the depictions of slavery in movies, or the lack of depiction in like Hamilton or whatever. Yeah. And you're like, that's crazy that it's ever not shown in its full brutality, because it's so, even me knowing that it's very, very bad. It's like reading a passage, you truly are shocked, and you go, oh, the people who need to go to this museum will never go to this museum. But you're like, there's no one in America, particularly no one in America who's white, who shouldn't go to this kind of museum, or a realistic museum that actually talks about it. And then the concept of like, but be nice about the founding father. Keep the statue up. Yeah. It feels incomprehensible if you actually
about what they're
take it.
responsible for. Yeah, it's like insane.
Why do we care that much about it? I just don't get the founding father thing.
It's to uphold white supremacy.
Yeah.
Like that's why it's like in every textbook, like you learn all that stuff and you're like supposed to hold it in reverence because it upholds white supremacy. It tells you that this is important and this is the stuff that you need to know about, and the other stuff is less important and you don't need to know about. It's just like a way to be like, and
I don't know anything could survive this museum. I don't know how religion could survive this museum, because you like, so there's one floor where you go in the bottom, like you go downstairs and there's like a warning. And this museum really isn't like, it doesn't have a lot of pretenses. It's not like overly shiny or everything. It's just, and there's a piece of paper. It's like, no unaccompanied minors down here. And it's about lynching. It's like, that's the whole exhibit down there. And, you see these awful pictures of the people taking photos at the lynchings, because it was a gathering. Oof. And I was talking to a great comedian, Leclerc Andre, last night, because he grew up in Baltimore, and he was saying, and I can't even explain, but the origin of the word picnic is actually brutal and dark, and it revolved around revolved around lynchings. And you're like, you go like, how is this not covered? How is this like? Of course, older people don't appreciate, or they go, well, it was a long time ago, and you're like, not even close. If it was thousands of years ago, it would still be relevant. It's so really good museum. I think they should have charged me on the way out, because I would have paid whatever. Yeah, whatever. I would have paid 40 acres and a mule. I'd say, here you go. That's a historical reference.
No, I know.
You're just like, I don't know what to laugh at right now. But it's a good museum. It was a really good museum. Yeah. And it was like, you should go.
I mean, we're going to go. You want to go back when we go to Baltimore?
Based on the conversation we just had, I don't know if riffing on this at the live show in DC is going to be great. Maybe second time round, you'll think of some more jokes to pepper it along the way. But this is the downside.
1, 2, 3. Downside. You're listening to The Downside. The Downside. With Gianmarco Soresi.
Once again, this is The Downside. This is a place where we can be honest, we can complain, we can moan. It's not all historically based. It can be fun and fluffy. We're here with Rachel Coster. Let me just say real quick, if you're a fan, join the Patreon, patreon.com/downside. We are almost at 500. Wow. And when we do, Russell and I are recording a musical theater duet in a professional studio. So patreon.com/downside. Check out the live dates for the tour. We also have one more tryout of our live show on July 1st. So Rachel Coster.
What are
your thoughts on cancel culture?
Well, I think that it's important to hold people responsible for stuff if they do bad stuff. Mm-hmm. I think the fear of being canceled is making people like eviler somehow. Yeah. Because I think it's important to like have some sort of path to like redemption. Sure. Otherwise, people just kind of double down on what makes them so evil.
I'm shocked you're answering sincerely.
Oh yeah, sorry. You asked, and I guess I wish I had a funnier answer. Yeah. But I do think that like it's important to. I think that people's hearts are becoming extremely calloused. And when you tell them that you hate them because they said something evil, which like that's a like normal response, but it also like sometimes isn't helpful to like actually making them change or become better. Mm-hmm. And so not everyone has to be like kind to evil people, but like anyone who is close to people who are like inflicting harm or pain on others, it's like, hey, like I love you legit, but you are like saying stuff that's making me so angry. Just you're hurting people and I don't think you want to.
I was thinking about this recently. I think it is I don't know, like when you're interacting with someone and they say something that is shocking in a way of like lacking any empathy or sort of thing, and you're like, where do I even, how is there a conversation? Yeah. How do I, when you're saying you don't actually care about huge swaths of the population and have no desire to blah blah blah, like
that's what happened to me the other day where that guy, he was saying, he was talking about, Israel retrieved 4 hostages, but 200 were killed, and just randomly, this guy, he's like, yeah, people were complaining about they killed 200 people. Are called enemy combatants, and I'm like, there's something so deep where I'm like, if you think those 200 people were enemy combatants, like I don't even know if it's worth me having a conversation with you.
Yeah. I don't know, online, and they can.
As a starting point, there's nowhere to start.
Yeah,
there.
Where do you go? How do you have a productive thing? Because then what happens is you don't, and you don't, and you because you in your head are like, I know I'm not going to get anywhere with this person, but then this really bad thing happens where then you're like, I'm clocking in my head all those kinds of people and all those things, and it distance. I'm like, I don't really like. There's a list of people now where I'm like, I don't really have.
You're walking down the street, you're crossing back and forth, just to avoid
there's
people.
There's a thing where you're like, I don't know what to do with that. I don't know what to like. There's a great sadness of like, oh, you don't have empathy for like this for huge swaths of people in the world.
Well, that's how I felt. I was working. I don't give a shit. there was someone working at a comedy club that I work at a lot, and this was before This was before the current conflict was highlighted in the way that it is.
Yeah.
And this person just posts a lot of transphobic stuff online, and that they lean into like the Daily Wire of it all. And I'm not going to fish for his name, but it was one of those things where I was like, I'm just going to not talk to this person. And every time I saw them, I just avoided them. And sometimes once I went off stage and they gave me a fist bump, it was dark, and I gave them the fist bump. I was like, no. But part of it is, and we're both not confrontational people, but it's like, you should feel shitty or confronted about your views, because that's the only way for you to...
And isolated in them. Or it's like this hard thing where it's like when people are isolated and feel like they're not part of like community or aren't loved or whatever, then they become angry and they're hateful.
Sure.
And it's like, how do you avoid that ever starting? And it like really starts
I think it's part
like,
of that apology. It's forgiveness. It's like, I feel like we are, and I say we leftist liberals, of like kind of not into prison.
Yeah.
Not into prison or jail or certain punishments. But at the same time, we haven't created avenues for apologies sometimes. And sometimes I'm like, we need to bring back just a good old punch to the face.
Totally.
Yeah.
And I think there's some people where it's like, I think you're not past the point of redemption, and like there's someone good in you, and like I really hope we can get there or like help you find that or whatever. But then there are other people who it's like, you've got to knock them out. Like that's a really bad guy.
Yeah.
And like they don't need to be around anyone that you love. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Yeah.
And that's like hard, but it's some people it's just like you are too dangerous and shitty and like shouldn't be accepted into polite society.
Well, this is
Sorry.
certainly...
Oh yeah, we've got to have some fun.
No, we are. But I've been finding it happening, and it's like this awful thing where you're like, well,
like, I'm saying this is new with Israel-Palestine because it's just a degree of like, Trump made it kind of very easy, and I was younger, and
you were
it was
like,
just like, well, we all want reproductive rights.
Yeah.
Totally.
And now
And
that
then, like,
team is very fractured.
With the like movement in 2020 where everyone was like in the streets marching, like that was easy because it was like, I don't know, we all love black people, or I hope so, or it's a lot easier to say, I don't know, but
and it's also a lot easier to, in theory, go like, we got to put an end to this, and then it's like, well, so we need to deal with the police a little bit, and it's like, well.
Yeah.
And then like once it comes to action, all these movements, you start seeing the lines.
Yeah.
And it's also
who's
helpful
willing
when
to
like
sacrifice.
the problem is like sometimes within you, because it's like, oh, I can like look inward and fix this stuff. But when it's like, oh, it's my neighbors, it's my friends, it's my family, like it is so hard when you're experiencing like hate right next to you, and you're like, oh God, this sucks.
Yeah.
And I think with like that was like, I don't know, it's like a larger problem, and it's all systemic, and that's so much easier to deal with than like interpersonal conflict.
It is,
or easier to wrap your mind around.
It's been eye-opening to see how many people need their thing. It ultimately is like they need to still be connected to the power source. Like they're like, no, I still believe in like this, like the institution is so important that I have to be connected to it, and I will never break away from what, like, if I'm in this party and this is what they're saying to do, then I'm going to go wherever it goes. Like where, like, cause I think, I mean, this point's been made a million times online, but I think if what was happening right now was happening under Trump, like,
of course,
people would be going crazy. I mean, people with the college stuff and like the thing, and we're turning our back on the ICC and the UN and all sorts of things. People would be going nuts. I would hope.
Maybe, but I do think there's a lot of Zionists who would honestly be having a real struggle because suddenly they'd be pro-Trump.
Yeah, I think maybe some more like people who are quiet or not paying attention would maybe be paying more attention. I don't know, but it's wild.
So, Boy Room.
Totally.
Well, tell me. So you grew up in Long Island?
Yeah, I'm from Cold Spring Harbor, right where Billy Joel's from.
Wow. Oh yeah, is that?
Yeah.
Do they have a statue there for him?
No, but he goes to Starbucks in my town sometimes.
Really?
Yeah, I saw him there when I was
If
little.
I was fucking Billy, if I was as rich as Billy Joel,
I know,
I'd never have a
go.
fucking Starbucks again in my life.
Yeah.
I think when you're old, it's kind of nice to go to like the shops. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And he's so old.
I would get a French press into my mouth.
Yeah,
Every
definitely.
morning.
I want one that like really just starts my, like, it would be nice to have a coffee machine that wakes you up with an alarm and then also already has the coffee prepared
I have
for you.
fantasized about that
There's
this is
no reason we shouldn't have that already.
Well, speaking of your show, like in a different time of my life, there was a time where it was possible for me to put the coffee machine right next to my mattress on the floor.
Yeah.
And I did it.
You're valid for that. That's honestly like thinking ahead and really like mindful, and like you're kind of an innovator.
You would have walked in my room, just been like, perfect.
It's all right
There's
there.
no show here.
Yeah.
Nobody gets
man.
messy fast. And this, I've said it before. Twice. I was drinking my cup of coffee.
Splash.
Cockroach.
Oh,
You're joking. That's bad.
Cockroach.
I worked at a cafe.
They
So hot
climbed.
coffee?
I think what happened
They
is they
love
were
the flavor.
probably the water in the pot left over. They climbed in. I didn't look. I made the coffee, poured it in, and like, I mean, just
Chomp.
there's like,
hate that. I hate.
and it was the
big
legs were all
fun.
squished.
Oh.
I worked
Thankfully,
at
it
a
was
cafe
dead.
and they love the coffee beans, so you have to like clear them out at the end of the night, but sometimes I would forget and I would get there and there would be a big old cockroach and I would just have to like scoop it while no one was looking and like throw it outside.
Oh my God,
I'm
what
like a
coffee shop
bad
was this?
barista. I'm not saying because I don't want to get in trouble. I was really bad at having a job there.
I do think that having just worked in the service industry just a little,
Yeah.
that people who are super cleanly, like, of course there's shit going on. Of course there's cockroaches being seen real quick and thrown away.
There is always stuff like that. Every place I've ever worked, there is something really gross happening in every single meal.
Can I tell you, I worked at an ice cream shop in high school, and they didn't have, it was like a shack attached to a Subway, and they did not have air conditioning that worked properly. So the ice cream was all melting. And I was in high school and I was like, hey, the ice cream's all melting. It's not, it's like bad. Like we can't even serve it. And they were like, they just were not treating it like a real problem. So anyways, one day I picked up a big, huge barrel of ice cream. And because it was all melting, the bottom gave out. All of it splashed onto the floor.
Like Stanley with the beans.
Yeah. And so then the owner was like, pick it up, scoop it off the floor and serve it. And so then I got in trouble because I was telling customers when they ordered pistachio that I had scooped it off the floor because I was a psychopath. And they would be like, if they ordered pistachio, I'd be like, hey, just so you know, that has been on the floor. And I was ordered to scoop it up off the ground. And so,
dude, whenever
and
I have a
the
job
boss
like
was like, she was like, you're telling people? And I was like, yeah, I'm telling people. Anyways.
Wait, did anyone go, nah, that's fine?
Yeah,
I really,
yeah. You know, like other high school students were like, obviously, it was like a small town thing. But years later, I found out that woman, the owner, she said she didn't have very good luck with men as her workers, and cited me and my brother. And I was like, I was not problematic. The only thing I did was tell on you for trying to serve garbage ice cream.
Oh my God.
I put my boss under the bus basically every day of my life if I have the opportunity to do so. I'm telling everyone all of the mistakes that they're making, everything they're doing wrong to me. I'm like, yeah, I'm not getting any of the money that you're sending me. I'm not getting any of it until it reaches a cap. I'm making $14 an hour. You cannot yell at me.
Yeah.
Like I'm telling everyone everything. I do not care and I do not have loyalty to my shitty boss.
Yeah.
Especially the ones paying me $14 an hour in America 2024.
Yeah.
Suck my legit tush.
Yeah. Also, sometimes at this place, they wouldn't let us have a tip jar. Sometimes.
Stop.
And so I would just put it out when they weren't there. And when I saw their car coming, I would hide
so
it.
insane.
Like, what are you, like, what
They hate you.
minimum wage? Like,
That's
what do you
crazy.
mean?
Yeah.
What is it to you?
I
You
literally
know?
like tried to unionize. I was on shrooms at the Cyclones game the other day, and I could not look at the guy who was serving me M&Ms because he had such a scary face, and I was tripping so much
Really?
balls. But I saw that the tips were only like 5%, 10%, 15%, and I was like, you guys all need to tell your boss that this is not fucking okay. It should start at 15, go up to 25. Like that is bare minimum vibes. You guys deserve better. Seriously. And then I had to go throw up in the bathroom. No, I was fine, but I was close. I was dry heaving.
And then you
whatever.
told that guy, hey, clean that up real quick.
Bitch.
Yeah. 5, 10, 15. That's crazy.
Isn't that mean?
Yeah.
And he was like, it's fine. It's more than nothing. I'm like, no.
No.
You deserve better. You're out here in the hot summer sun. I'm on drugs. I could do anything right now. You deserve to be compensated.
Yeah.
I was just in Europe for a little though, like to live in a world where there's not a tipping thing,
yeah.
and it's just you go, oh, it's all taken care. It's so much
and
better.
when the price is
It's
just
so
what
much
it costs, that is awesome.
Yeah.
Because you see $15 and you go, it's going to be $15. Here you say $15 and it ends up being like Uber prices. You're doing 25, whatever.
Yeah.
And then they
Also-
go, the taxes are so high. I'm like, but it's good. I'm
Also,
telling you.
I saw people. So there was a news story the other day about like how they upped the thing in California and like they were
They
like
up the thing in California.
Which
the
thing?
minimum wage.
Minimum
Like
wage.
so there was like $20 an hour or something for and it lost all like it was saying like there was 10,000 jobs or whatever that were lost. I was like, well, then you can't have a business because you can't afford to pay your people a
Exactly.
living wage. So you're
The
a
boss,
bad business.
The boss at the
person.
ice cream place had to scoop up their own ice cream off the
Yeah.
floor.
Also, I looked it up. It was like one of the chains had already filed bankruptcy like in 2020 and wasn't doing well. And that was like 48 stores of the anyway that closed.
Of course, but all those money
What?
people, they have the money to blame that as opposed to some fund buying
Yeah,
all
you-
the Red Lobsters.
If you
and-
can't have a business, you can't have a business. Fucking losers.
Last summer, I told my boss, I was like, hey, I'm not going to be here for a month because I'm going to Europe. I want to have a nice life. And she was like, how can you afford to do that? And I was like, certainly not with the money you're paying me. And I had to abscond.
You know what, David? I want to pay you for this episode.
It's crazy
I
to
want you
ask
know
your
that.
employee how they're affording to do a normal fun thing.
Yeah. That is
Like, that's crazy.
How
Like,
are you
how
affording-
can you do that? I don't pay you enough to do that. You shouldn't
Yeah.
leave.
Yeah.
It's like psycho.
Where do you think you got this Karl Marxian spirit? Because you grew up with money.
Yes, definitely. I think that it was so nice to have everything that I needed that everyone should have the opportunity to have that.
Yeah.
It's really nice to get an education and like be able to live in housing and have mental health services and be medicated and love my family and friends and have an awesome community. And I think everyone should be able to do that and not be working so many jobs that they can't see their children. And
Is your family collectively on the same page with you?
yeah, my like grandpa's like a communist. He like is off the grid. He's awesome.
Still, does he know he's allowed to more so these days?
Yeah,
Be
yeah, he's
public
doing
about
his
it?
he's doing his own thing.
depending on the
Yeah,
state.
he.
Was he like part of the party? Was he?
I don't know about that. I actually think he was doing his. He kind of came to it on his own.
Yeah.
I think he like was doing his totally own thing. He was like, I don't really like how this works, and I don't want to be like at a job all the time, and I
Yeah.
don't want to be like. Yeah, I think he just like sells weed in California and makes it happen for himself.
Nice.
Do you get weed from him?
I haven't seen him in like 100 years, but I should definitely pop out because I think he's like on his last leg. But
Oh.
I was too young when I was seeing him to be able to smoke weed.
Sure.
But now I would probably.
Yeah.
What do your parents do for work?
They're both retired. Well, my dad's retired now. He used to be a research analyst, and my mom has just been able to like chillax and do yoga and teach cooking, and
Fucking-
they both are involved in their communities.
yeah.
My dad I guess I don't want to dox them. I
Yeah.
think they're so private, and so I would be
Yeah,
scared.
our listeners
to...
generally don't just dox whatever.
Okay,
but
thank
sure.
you so much.
But like, did they
You
grow
never
up
know.
with money,
Thank
or
you.
did they
No,
earn it?
neither
Your
of
dad.
them. Neither of them grew up with money. My dad is a self-made man. He grew up really poor, and is just like kind of a genius. And so he came to America, the land of opportunities, made it happen, from England. So he's not like a cool immigrant. He's like,
Oh, he's British though.
yeah,
He's like a traitor
Do you have
immigrant.
a British citizenship?
no, because I kind of boofed it. There was a bunch of paperwork when I was 18, and I was too busy trying to get laid, so I didn't do any of the stuff necessary. And now it's really hard to become a citizen.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You submitted it, and they're like, the pages are stuck together. We can't process this at all.
No, I just like never did it. I was like, yeah, I don't think that's gonna be important to me. And now I'm like, God, it would be really cool to bust out.
Yeah.
I would love to go somewhere else, but I think it'd be easy to like
I think
get someone
to-
to sponsor me or
Well,
something.
Tova, her mom is from Britain originally, and she speaks very confidently that she could just get a passport
Really?
For
anytime.
her mom.
For her because of her
Tova.
mom.
I
Yeah.
had one as a baby. I feel like if I brought that in and I was like, guys, level with me. Can I have this again? They would give it to me probably.
You know what I lost is my social security card.
Oh,
Dude,
I mean,
I don't
lost
know
that
where
a
mine
decade
is.
ago.
I've lost
it's
it.
a piece
I have
of
a
piece
photo-
of
Why do
paper.
they do
I have
that?
a
crazy.
photocopy of it. I just use
It's
that.
like so crazy that it's just a piece of like
It's
just
gone.
trust that my number is the one that like
Yeah.
why would I have the same thing
Yeah.
since I'm a baby? What
What's
are you
your
talking
social
about?
security number?
Oh, it's
No, it was it's a little blue piece of paper, and I
it's
lost it
tiny.
10
I don't know
years
where
ago.
mine is.
Why
legit.
we shouldn't even be has to have it. It should be in a lockbox somewhere that we can access.
At least the passport is like, it's got leather or fake leather bound. It's bound to something. Like, put the card in something else that I also like. Put it attached to like a chain or something, so I remember where it is, or have somewhere to put it.
Even the passport, there, I haven't lost it yet. I've done a pretty good job with it.
I have it with me right now.
Yeah,
I don't know why.
Just in case we go to Toronto and I didn't tell you about it.
You never know when you're going to have to jet set.
Yeah.
But clearly it should be digital. This is one of the things where when they start talking about AI making movies, I'm like, how about we figure out digital security in a way where if I lose my passport, it's okay.
Yeah.
Also, like with the clear stuff that they're implementing into the, which kind of scares me. Like, I'm a little afraid of like the what's it called, biometric stuff.
Biometric.
Like, I think that's a little scary, and I don't want them to like just be doing that to me whenever. But I think like it would honestly sometimes be helpful to just like skirt, and then I get to go to like Paris.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think they're close. Do you do clear? Because clear, they just look at my eyes.
I don't yet.
I got scammed into it one time because the line was so long and I was running really late for my flight.
You need it. And you have TSA
How much
pre?
is it? How much is
no,
it?
I don't have any of that
Get
stuff.
TSA pre. Listen to me.
Get TSA
Listen
pre.
to me.
Guys, totally.
Go get TSA
Get
pre.
TSA pre right now. It's going to be a nightmare. It's so annoying
You're
to do.
so scary when you tell me what. Yeah, I'll go get TSA pre.
But how much is clear?
It's like $80 a year or something.
Yeah, it's that.
But if you're traveling a lot, like,
now they have lines that are
money.
clear and TSA at the same time. They have 3 lines.
I know.
Yeah.
I've been noticing the clear. They get to go more. So yeah, it's the next thing.
Is it boy room or boys room? I forget. Boy room.
Simple.
Because Tova recommended we reach out.
Thank you so much, Tova. You're the legit best. You're so cool and awesome and gorgeous.
I used to tell a story on stage where a woman I met after a show, she came back to my place in Harlem, and she walked in my room and said, "Your bedroom looks like a mental asylum."
Oh my God.
And
girls can be such bitches.
but it was like, but it is a thing.
Didn't you have like one thing hanging on the wall? You had like one
I had
framed?
one, like even worse. It was. I had an idea for an artistic exhibit with puzzle pieces, and it was like my own. Like it was not for other people.
That's
it was during a time where there were no visitors to the museum. So I said, whatever goes up on the wall, it doesn't seem to matter.
If it makes you happy, it makes you laugh, it's worth it. But sometimes it can be off-putting to girls.
Some terrible metaphor about a piece missing in life, and just awful shit.
She's like, I'm right here.
And then also on one wall, I had like etched like everyone I'd ever killed on this side. But I do feel like I'm pretty sure that was maybe during my mattress on the floor stage. But I think so much of my making my living situation better was driven in some capacity by, if I ever want a woman to come back to here, it's going to have to get better. I think if I was celibate, I'd be sleeping with a mattress on the floor still. Truly.
Yeah.
I didn't mind it.
It just lands there. It's so easy to put it there, and it's hard to get it up.
It feels good at the end of the day to go, I'm done with the day, going to the floor.
Yeah.
Going to where I will one day rest forever.
I was on the floor for like a week last week because I was in between bed frames.
Ooh.
And it was like bad for my self-esteem, I will say. Also, I had like a bunch of shit all around me because the stuff that was usually under my bed was just kind of like encircling the bed.
Yeah.
And so I felt like I was in some sort of like scary cult circle.
Yeah, I want to be a little elevated.
Yeah, it is nice to be up.
Yeah.
But a bad bed frame is not great.
No.
An IKEA bed frame
No.
is
I
scary.
got that one that like it's 2 pieces and you basically unfold it and then lock them together. It is the best thing ever. If you're like low maintenance, like chiller.
Yeah, I think I've moved past that point.
Totally. You're an adult and you have to like keep it real with yourself about that.
Because I IKEA bed, it was whatever it is that like holds up the mattress part. Sometimes it would fall off, and so you'd be sleeping.
Yeah,
and then suddenly you'd fall into the bed like a pit.
I don't have a lot of faith in IKEA. All love. I love going there, but mostly for like the experience.
I don't think I've ever gone to an IKEA.
I went once, and I got
my God,
the
I'm about to get a car, and you've got to come with me. It is so much fun, and then you can go get Steve's authentic key lime pie afterwards.
I've heard of that.
It is like the best.
I thought it was the meatballs
day ever.
was the thing. They have meatballs too.
Well, totally. But if we're in Red Hook, we're going to get Steve's authentic key lime pie. Yeah. It's a little popsicle with a small key lime pie attached, dipped in chocolate, and then you look at the Statue of Liberty. It's like awesome.
Okay.
there's an energy there of couples.
We're building a life, a home.
It's awesome. It's such a romantic space, but also good to go with a friend.
So your show, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's on TikTok and it's posted other places. But it's you go to a guy's room and you judge it.
Yeah, I just like to see the sights. And I guess it ends up being judgmental, but I don't really think of myself as like above that. It's much more from like
no one could say a kind word about some of these rooms.
Some of them are so scary, but it's not. I don't ever think it's like. I think it's like a very anthropological experience to bop into someone's home, and like I think it's so crazy how some people live, but I don't think it's like bad.
What's the scariest thing you've ever come across?
Oh, we went to a house in Philadelphia that actually scared the legit shit out of me. It was unfinished because the guy built it. Oh, he bought it and then he shelled it out, and he's rebuilding it. He was like coming to the kitchen. It looked like a dark alleyway that had walls on all the sides, and all of the electric was visible, all of the wall inside of the wall was visible. In the bathroom, they just had like one of those lights that you use when you're working on a construction site to see stuff when there's no electric. And it was in the shower, and there were a bunch of wires like taped in the shower. And I thought that maybe is like bad for if you like are trying not to get electrocuted.
Yeah.
He's like, don't worry, I haven't showered in years.
Yeah.
Exactly. And they had not. Literally, that one was hard to film because they were both we did two in there. One, I don't know if it will ever come out because he was doing so much whippets that it was like impossible to understand what he was saying.
Oh no.
And both of them were honestly so high on nitrous oxide the whole time that
what
it was
is
like
whippet? Because that wasn't part of my experience.
Nitrous
like,
oxide.
What do people act like when they're on it?
Isn't that like a high school like kids were doing in high school?
Yeah, it's like really easy to get because it's just canisters and you like pop them open. One time I was dating a boy and he did that and I literally just left his house. Like it was so unsexy to watch a man drool on himself after ripping nitrous oxide that I had to bust out.
So did he go to his fridge and it's in his fridge, or it doesn't need to be refrigerated?
No, it doesn't need to be refrigerated. It gets cold when it's activated because like science or something. Like, you just whip it out of a whipped cream can, or you can put it in a balloon or something. Does some
whipped cream come out too?
Not unless you put in some cream. If you want to make some cream happen, then you can pop that in there too. But usually you're just doing it for the gas.
Oh.
And it just makes you kind of like zone out.
Do you hold on to it like a cigarette?
You can. And that makes it really, really strong. It's like, have you ever done a popper?
No.
No, we're gonna do one for a Patreon episode.
You got to do a popper.
I know, we're gonna try
it. Are poppers? Because my understanding for poppers was like you take it like and then you put it in. Yes, it's for anal sex specifically.
I think it's very helpful for loosening up the body because your whole body becomes completely limp. It's like it feels like you're about to shit yourself, throw up.
You're not.
It feels like you're about to shit yourself, throw up, and fall over. But if you're having sex, I imagine that would be like amazing because that's kind of close to what coming can feel like if you're doing it right.
Okay, but when people online
I'm sorry. When you come, you feel like you're about to shit and throw up. Is that
if it's that good?
Wait, but when people talk about like they talk about going to a concert and like, oh, you could smell the poppers everywhere. People are doing it there though. So how like
I think you have to be in close proximity.
Or like,
no, it's kind of fun to do even if you're not having sex because it's like I just want to go get some right now so that you can experience it. It just is like it's literally 3 seconds of being like nothing in the world matters. I'm light as a feather. You come back and you're like, I don't feel so good. Yeah.
But then you don't feel good?
I don't know. Well, it's like like a chemical. It's like when you snort like nail polish. It doesn't feel like awesome.
Not done that either.
Oh, you've got to snort nail polish.
But so if you're going to a concert, are you doing it like at the best part of the song? Or like if it's so short, like what? Are you doing it 10 times that night? Or are you just like, fuck it, let's do it?
I think if you're on other drugs, it can just like elevate the experience.
Let's mix it. That's the problem. We just need to start mixing it.
Yeah,
with
totally.
What?
Would you
I guess you must not do that.
For the Patreon, would you just do one popper?
I don't know.
It will be so awesome. Please, please, please.
Maybe, yeah, sure.
Sure, I guess I do it too. It's not that dangerous. You don't hear a lot
of... It's not dangerous, is it?
Popper deaths?
No. I mean, if you did it like 300 times a day, every day for like a couple of years, I think you would like maybe lose some of like what makes you
brain
you.
Cells.
Some of your swag. But I think that it's like once or twice you're fine. Unless you have like a rare brain thing that maybe you're the one who like dies. But you never know.
Feel that way.
I know. I thought I was like, recently my friend is a brain scientist and she let let me come get an MRI for free, or I got paid, and they like did experiments on me while I was in the machine. And it was awesome because I've always been worried that maybe there's like a lump in there or something very scary. But to find out that I'm actually fine and I actually have a really high pain tolerance is awesome.
Wow.
Scientifically high pain tolerance.
I wondered if I was like if like Jeff Bezos, someone who's just has all the money to do whatever to stay alive as long as they want. Like, do they just get a full...
Is there
a way to do an intensive scan?
Yes.
I think you can't do it once a week though because of X-ray or whatever.
Like radiation or whatever. But it is good to check out all your stuff. I want to find out what's going on.
But I always think that I always think something weird is going to happen, even if it's like a rare thing. On the way here, I was on the escalator scrolling Twitter, and I saw a video of an escalator sucking a shoe into it and crushing it, and like what an escalator could do if a human foot was in there. And I saw this video pop up while I was on an escalator, and I was like, oh my God. And I was like in the middle of the escalator, like, is it a sign? Is this about to happen? Because I always think about my shoelace getting stuck in the thing and somehow getting sucked into it.
I want you to think about that version. Let's say that is a sign. What kind of God is this? So God says, hey, he's about to have a terrible accident. Let me just show him a little tweet just to fuck with him for 10 more seconds.
Yeah, that would never happen because that guy definitely didn't see a video of it happening.
Well, it was just like an example, a scientific example. There was no person attached to it, but it just was showing like a high heel. And again, I didn't have high heels on, but it showed how a high heel could get latched into one of those things.
I like that you call it a scientific example. Like, what science do you study? Well, I put shoes into escalators and film it.
Totally, and someone has to.
It crushed
There's a science for everything.
Sure.
It crushed it so quickly. It sucked it right down.
I like watching those videos. It's like metal things curling, and they drop anything in there, and gradually it just
feels amazing.
Tears them to pieces.
And it pops and stuff. Yeah. Or the one that crushes it until it goes down.
Yeah. Speaking of, this is way off topic, but random videos. Did you see that video of that bull who jumped the thing in Oregon? And it jumped out of the arena. It jumped out of the arena. It was like a bullfighting thing.
The arena I'm imagining is impossible, so I need to lower the walls in my imaginary. The arena I'm imagining, this bull flew.
like gargantuan, like you're like over the like.
Okay,
walls
arena is a generous term for this hoedown that was happening with like 400 people in Oregon, but it was like a 6-foot wall. You know,
sure.
Anyway, so they're doing bullfighting, or they're doing bull whatever. They're a horrible thing where they poke sticks at bulls and they make them mad and they chase people. And then they're like, what happened? How did it? Anyways, the bull jumped over the wall and then was just out and about, like with like vendors and like people who are just like at the rodeo, not inside.
Yeah.
And so it's running around crazily and without there's no time. It runs and there's a group of 3 people and and a woman's wearing a red shirt. So you're like, oh, red,
brutal.
The bull. So he's red. And it just flips her, like hits her. She goes flying in the air into a full flip, lands on it again, flips her again. It lands on, like goes on to her and then keeps going. Like, but it happens like within a second. She flips twice.
Do you check the replies? Is she okay?
I looked it up. She's okay. But it was a crazy thing to think of. I've never been to a rodeo, but like knowing that's a possibility now, the bulls get loose.
Sure. You don't want to live near a rodeo. So
I thought I was psychic because there was like a week where I just kept thinking about my teeth crunching on like cement. And then my teeth got knocked out and I was like, I called this a mile off. But now I keep thinking about like losing a limb and I'm so worried that it's going to happen because I'm so psychic. But I have to imagine that like saying it out loud helps God be like, she's catching on, so we can't do it.
Interesting.
And so I'm like hoping so.
How did your teeth get knocked out?
Fake wood.
It's all some fake. Stuff fell on me.
Oh my God.
Well,
I was in the back of a truck because I was working a production gig and a bunch of stuff fell on me because a guy took the ratchet strap off of like 6 folding tables and they all just toppled onto my head.
Oh.
Boom. I was really scared, but now my teeth are back. Prosthodontists are the greatest doctors in the world.
Prosthodontist?
Yeah. You don't know what they are until you need them urgently.
Yeah.
And then there they are and they did an amazing job on me.
Prosthodontist sounds like a dinosaur.
Yeah.
So
he was old. Sorry, it took me a sec. Sorry.
I can wait a little if there's any more.
No. I'm tapped out. Thank you.
So this boy room idea is yours.
Yeah. Bit of a genius.
Yeah.
What was there any particular thing that inspired it, or did you just see over the years?
I seen some stuff for sure. And then my friend was like, a girl came over last night and left because my room was so scary, and he's like one of the best guys ever. And I was like, well, that's not right, because you're awesome. You should be like slaying, basically. And so I was like, do you want me to come over and help? And he was like, I think I'm too embarrassed. But I was like, there is a world of people who I can help. And so I guess I'm not really helping, but I am going to their house. And I love going to
What did you
people's
see in
homes.
his place?
I didn't see it. He didn't let me in.
Oh, he wouldn't let you in.
Yeah, he was too embarrassed.
Because that's the thing I think about the show is some of these guys, they show no shred of shame.
Yes. I think when you're living in something, it's hard to understand how different it is from how someone else is living.
Yes.
Like, I'm
Sure.
sure the way that I eat would like terrify Kate Moss, but it doesn't even matter to me. And like, I kind of like it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so it's like, until someone shines a light on what you're doing, it's hard to really think about it as different or wrong or like misguided even. And
Yeah.
so I think sometimes like something that's so bizarre to us is just commonplace.
I go to friends'
others.
houses sometimes. We went to our friend Douglas Goodhart, who co-hosts the podcast sometimes, and he's very aesthetically inclined.
Mm.
And I remember going there and just being like, oh, shit,
Yeah.
you're an adult and I'm a child.
Yeah. Yeah.
Totally. Some people just like have it going on. I won't say that I am. I really definitely don't have any like taste, but I definitely can see when it's really bad.
Sure. Do you not like, could someone flip the script on you one day and go to your
Yeah,
room
I would
and
be like completely screwed, especially today. There is so much on my floors that it would start kind of like a revolution probably if people knew what my truth is. But
sure.
I don't know. I don't think that will ever happen because I would never let anyone into my house.
Yeah.
Any of those guys get pissed after the fact? They feel embarrassed?
I think there was one experience someone didn't like the comments, but it was because they were like a hot person who'd never been bullied on the internet. And I was like, well, okay, like, sorry you have to experience what like every like heavy person, trans person, like everyone I know, basically every comic who's like putting themselves out there like every single day is experiencing basically nonstop for one day. And they weren't even that mean, not to be a bitch, but it was like, haha, this is nasty. It was like, yeah, dude, like if you can't handle this, like good luck with other stuff because people are not nice in this town.
Yeah.
Showbiz is like so harsh and you've got to have a thick skin. Some people just aren't cut out for it. People are so mean to me in the comments. It's crazy. Whatever.
I mean, like in defense or just actually no, because like
just like misogynistic and like mean about my body and stuff. Like it's just like get a grip. I am so thankful to have such a nice life that mean comments don't really affect me.
Yeah.
But I understand that that's not like always the case, and sometimes it's really exhausting.
Yeah.
And I have like a pretty not marginalized person.
Yeah.
And
how would you teach it? Because I feel like there's a degree where we've also accepted like any platform that's going to have comments, it's just going to be filled.
Yeah,
especially
with like rage.
for any woman.
Yeah, oh my gosh.
I was saying because when we post clips and the guest is a woman, I see all the comments. So I go like for a brief second, I feel like I get a window into like what it would be to be a woman. On the internet.
It's so much.
It's
I mean,
insane.
it's so crazy.
Like funny.
It's so crazy because it's like I'm on this thing the whole time, and then like if anyone like it's just the amount of men that will say the crazy things to a woman, and you're like about size or stuff. It's crazy.
Even like some of the stuff that's like, haha, I didn't know women could be funny. Like even that stuff, I'm just like, why'd you come here? Like you so don't need to post that. It's so unnecessary. Or like, I don't know. There's just so much stuff, and I just like can't really think about it too much because it just makes me really scared for like the world.
Yeah.
But
there's overall manner things that like, especially with the internet, I don't think we've learned how to as a society to instill in people. Like for
like,
guys
I'll see this.
For guys that feel the need to go like, normally I don't find women funny, but this was really good.
Yeah.
And you're like,
or like a guy like commented like, this girl would be so hot if she lost 20 pounds. It's like, just say I'm hot. Just say I'm hot. Like, I don't need to know about the other stuff. Like, you can tell other people what you think about me, or like, if you were like, shoot, like, if you want to whisper it to your best friend, no problem. You don't really need to tell me that, because like, I probably don't really want to do that right now. I've got other stuff going on. Also, I'm posting comedy, so how hot I am actually doesn't matter. Yeah. Ideally, but I guess to you, it's all I'm good for.
That's the guy thing with the guy. I'm like, does everything have to be sexy all the
funny,
time?
But she's not.
Not everything has to be sexy. Go watch porn. Go jerk off. Yeah. Like those guys, I'm like, go jerk off, and then you can look at something else and go, it's okay for a second. I don't need to be horny for the whole goddamn day. Yeah. Chill.
It really is nuts. That is like the biggest thing, where it's like my purpose in life is to be extremely funny, and I know that I'm sexy and like hot in other like in the proper circumstances, but like it's not my end goal to be like the hottest person ever or the sexiest person ever. So like when people are like, well, you're this but you're not hot, it's like, yeah, I never said I wanted to be that. Like that's like not the goal. Yeah. You know, like the goal, like if I'm like a marathon runner and they're like, but you're not good at writing, it's like, totally, I never wanted to be. That wasn't like what I was trying to do, and I don't have any fun doing that. I don't know, it's like kind of a nightmare.
So for Boy Room, you guys pre-screen stuff, I imagine.
Yeah, there's a producer who just like fields the DMs on the Gymnasium account. They're like they produce it. Gymnasium produces the show,
and they DM pictures.
And people will DM pictures, and they like decide if it's like worth going or not, and they like see if the person is like, or just like if the person seems like fun. And we found like it is hard to sometimes know through pictures, because sometimes like a room will be like messy, but there's nothing like there's no through line or like anything that really makes it interesting or exciting, or the person's kind of like dull or just kind of a sweetie pie who doesn't talk that much.
Sure.
And so that can be a little tough, but they do a pretty good job making sure that we go places that are sick. And we did some really fun ones in Philadelphia. I'm excited for more of them to come out.
Was there anything in Philly that was different than New York?
Yeah, trends of different places.
I think that it's just like everyone has a lot more space there, generally, and I think it's like a more like gritty city, and so much more like working class, and like the people there are so much more like they have a lot of pride in their city, and I think it like shines in their rooms or something, or I don't know. There's like,
I mean, like a lot of like Philly like merch on the walls.
No, yeah, it's just like
a lot of
there's
gritty.
just like a rougher like. And especially with the last one that we did, there's like, he was like, yeah, it's just how it is in Philly. You don't throw stuff out. Like, obviously people in Philly throw stuff out. But I think like the people who are like rough and tumble, like Philadelphians, are like really proud of the like the filth or the grit. And I think that's cool. Because I think in New York, there's people who are like, I'm punk. Like, I made it like this. You know what I mean? But it's like, no, it's just like this.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of like, what was the worst time in my life? Was there ever a time in my life where like it would have been a good enough episode if there was enough going on?
Probably not, unless you had like weird stuff. I guess the puzzle pieces could have been interesting to see.
Yeah, it would have been embarrassing in a different artistic way.
Yeah, definitely. If the thing that you really thought was like working for you or something, you're like, I'm like making really creative stuff, and then I was mean about it, I would feel horrible for sure.
Okay, so
how did you guys meet each other?
We met in a really bad off-Broadway improv show.
Totally.
Then,
sorry for asking.
No, it's okay. Let me tell you what the art exhibit was going to be in its totality. If I had more.
Okay, I want to hear.
Yeah.
So I was like interested in all the different. It's so pretentious.
No.
All the different like whatever mathematical constants were required for the universe to exist. Totally. And I couldn't possibly explain it past what I just said.
Totally.
27 things that if they were not true, nothing would be.
Yeah.
And I was gonna make an exhibit of I would get dice to encourage the randomness of everything.
Oh,
and it was every number was gonna be portrayed like with all the dice. And in this exhibit, it'd be interactive. If you tried to move one of the dice, the lights would go out.
My God.
And if that was there, I think if that girl had come home to that, she would have
been really impressed.
She said, fuck me right now.
Wait, so you didn't do it? You started to do it and then you didn't do it?
No, I just did. I basically, I built a little plaque that would be next to the art piece before I built the art piece itself. I was like, Gianmarco Soresi, great artist, blah, blah, blah. One day I'll build the art that justifies it.
I feel like the worst I ever. I had like at times where I definitely didn't have anything on the walls. I didn't have anything like anything. I only had clothes and the bed. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like where and there was a while where I didn't have a closet. So I had like the rack. You know, the rack
is
the
brutal.
rack is brutal. That
Without
sad
proper
rack.
care or mindfulness, the rack can be the scariest place in the world.
Well, you do learn like I've been married now 8 years. You you see through different eyes now. We're like, holy shit!
It's like
you would never go to IKEA. You're married.
This is a guy having a regular realization, but like he had to be married 8 years to figure it out.
No, but like I'm saying, like for instance, when I got my apartment in Astoria, my second apartment in Astoria, with my friend, we were moving in, and Nicole came, and it was move-in day. And it was the first time she was there. And she's like, your apartment, you didn't say your apartment doesn't have any closets. And that was me realizing, we got an apartment without any closets.
Yeah.
I didn't even recognize that. Do you know what I mean? Like, so then it was like, she's like, what are you going to do with all your clothes? You have no closets. And I was like, oh, well, I guess we'll get this rack thing. And so there's like stuff like that where you're like, now I would notice if I went into an apartment and it didn't have a closet or anything, I would notice. But there was a time you just don't. The guys just don't notice certain things.
There was a time someone showed me a potential apartment to move into, and I remember I walked in, it was like disaster. And then I left, and when I was leaving, I said, wait a second. There was no toilet. And he was like, and then I called him, I was like, there's no toilet in this apartment. He said, oh, it's going to be built. It's going to be built. And I was like, absolutely not.
Where?
But I remember it was leaving, and I was like, wait
was there a shower?
second.
Sometimes?
No, there was a bathtub like classic bathtub in the kitchen, but a wood thing over it. It was.
I think noticing an absence is a really hard thing to do.
Yeah.
Like you have to already like really rely on something to notice that it's not there. Like at my ex's house, he didn't have a humidifier. And I was like, that's crucial because I didn't have one. Then I got one, changed my life. Now it's better.
Sure.
So it's like, then I see he doesn't have it. And I'm like, okay. But like before that, I never knew that I didn't have a humidifier until someone else said that you probably need this. Sometimes like that really does have to come from other people's eyes who have what you have not. Yeah. And they tell you deserve better.
Well, there was. I feel like it's got away a bit of as a trope online, but there was a thing of like guys don't have a bed frame, guys don't have the top sheet.
Yeah, totally.
And I was like, listen, I know a lot of serial killers who got a great top sheet. You know what I mean?
Gosh.
Like
it's like good people can have like.
I know a lot of serial killers.
And
they're all me.
And they're glamorous.
But there's just that degree of like, I get it. I get when people are like, that's embarrassing. You don't know this.
Yes.
But it's not indicative of you being a good human being.
No, certainly not. And
that'd be a great guy who just needs a little nudge, and then he'll get that bed frame.
Of course, I'm just saying it does. Yeah, you get, you know.
And sometimes it takes. I mean, like that stuff about no one can love you till you love yourself. Like some of that's true, but I also think like sometimes someone else loving you is so helpful because you're like, oh, I do deserve to have like a little bit of a nicer stuff. Like I do deserve to treat my body better. I do deserve to like have a job where I'm not treated like total shit. Like sometimes it really is just so helpful to have someone who really cares about you being like, I'm on your side and I think that this isn't right for you. And you're like, oh yeah, I'm not happy. It's kind of awesome.
I'm Dr. Friend.
Who
I
does
like
the
to be
art for all your posters?
Which one's these?
It's so good. No, not that stuff. I'm looking at that, but I don't know what that is.
There a couple different ones.
Oh, sorry for asking.
Alan Faustino is he's a guy I work with a lot. I can give you his email.
Every time he posts them, I freak out. They're like unbelievable.
We got a good poster coming tomorrow.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I can't wait. Guys, this is going to be awesome.
So you have ADD.
Sorry. Of course. And I haven't medicated myself in maybe like a year and a half because it's just so boring to do. However, I also have not responded to an email. They're so scary.
You were here on time, to be fair.
No, I'm good at that stuff. Actually, that's not true. I'm usually late, but today, by some legit miracle, I was here on time. But I do have to set like 13 alarms a day to make sure that I'm like paying attention to it time passing.
What do you mean?
Well, so like if I need to be somewhere so today I had to be here at 3:30.
Yeah.
But I had to leave the house at 2:40. And then I had to make sure that I was like dressed and had my makeup on by 2:30. 30, but doing my makeup and getting dressed can take like 20 minutes or half an hour or even like an hour if I really want to like get into it. Today I definitely didn't. Sorry, you deserve better. I didn't do a full beat. I hope that's okay. Please don't get mad at me. I didn't do my eyebrows that well.
Don't worry, we'll see it in the comments.
Yeah, we'll see it in the comments.
But yeah, you got to set a lot of
She'd be really funny if she
alarm,
was wearing more makeup.
You scroll through my alarms and it's like, there's a lot of
really?
them. That's like the phone.
And
Doesn't
just
really
for
look
just
like
one
it.
event, you would have like 5 or 6.
Oh yeah, because I need to know when to start doing when to get in the shower, when to make sure that I've eaten by, when to make sure I leave by, and then a backup plan in case I need to Uber.
Wow.
And I am Ubering a lot because I'm generally missing the time that I'm supposed to go because I forgot to set a former alarm that tells me that I should have been getting ready. Yeah. It is a nightmare, but I also appreciate it because I think there's some good stuff to it. Like sometimes amazing things happen in my fridge, like it gets clean on a random day, and I couldn't have even anticipated that would happen, but I just get the movements.
Yeah.
That's not happening with my ADD. I'll tell you that. Oh my god! I did the whole fridge.
Oh
wow. When were you diagnosed?
They like refuse to diagnose me. I like won't listen to it.
The doctors or your parents?
No, the doctor. My doctor has ADHD. This woman is so
That's
funny.
why you can't get the medication because your doctor's like, oh wait, I see this patient.
She is the funniest woman I've ever met in my life. She has this amazing like loft in Soho that I go to. Art everywhere that is stunning, like incredible taste. 6 couches. I've never seen her sit in any of the couches for more than like 30 seconds. She's always hopping from place to place, and she takes her shoes off immediately, puts them back on, takes them off like 13 times within the session, hands me a Diet Coke the second I get there without asking if I want one. She is amazing.
Wait, this is your
therapist?
This is my psychiatrist. My therapist is extremely normal.
I thought this was like your general practitioner.
No.
I go to their house.
That would be horrible.
Take my shoes off.
I'm like trying to tell them
my
like,
God.
yeah, I've been having a hard time. She's like, do you want to hear about? Oh, and she always pulls up IMDb Pro. She's obsessed with famous people. She's always telling me, oh my God, I just saw this woman on the street. Like she's obsessed with famous people. And she texted me at 10. I was written about in the Post, and she texted me at 10:30 p.m. and was like, Rachel, I just saw you in the New York Post. I'm so excited for you. This is awesome. You've got to come see me soon. I need to give you more drugs. She is awesome. And also she doesn't have a filing system like in her phone, so everything is in manila envelopes all over her, all over the place in stacks. It is crazy. She hasn't charged me in 13 sessions. I owe her like over 20
know if she's a real doctor. It's like crazy woman you go and say hi to.
This is one of those moments where
she still uses an Earthlink email address.
Oh,
she's amazing. Earthlink.net. I love
what
her.
kind of drugs is she giving you? Is she the one providing you all these poppers?
Yes. I get Prozac and Vyvanse.
Vyvanse.
Yeah, she wants me to get thinner. She was like, the Vyvanse will make you thin.
She's
obsessed with me losing weight. She's like, well, I'll put you on the Prozac, but I think that'll make you gain weight, so we're going to get you some Vyvanse. Whatever. She is awesome.
Can I say I've been struggling so hard to get appropriate sleep medication for my trip to Australia?
This is your
I think
girl.
I found the person.
Literally, she would give you like methamphetamines if you were like, I just kind of like the rush. She is awesome. I told my therapist about this woman, and she was like, hey, I actually... want to see someone else. I do actually think that maybe it would be. And no, and I was like, no, I'm seeing my girl because that girl is awesome.
I like the devil and angel of the two of them. It sounds like they really balance each other out. Like
sounds like what's winning pretty resolutely.
She is amazing. When were you diagnosed?
I wasn't. I'm so confident enough that I could get some degree of medication. Tova would like me to get it. Totally. I worry it would stifle my creative spirit. But I also think like doing occasionally and like getting something done.
When you have to do like admin tasks. Like I think when you're like writing fun stuff and having an amazing time. Honestly, it's good for writing jokes. Excuse me, sorry. It's good for like writing jokes and stuff. It's not good for performing. Like when I'm performing on Adderall, I'm like, I wish you guys were all like in a board meeting right now and we're listening to my pitches. Like I'm like
someone
not really emotive.
Like, please.
Yeah, it's like that's really distracting. Thank you so much. Like it's not fun.
Yeah.
But it is really good for like getting stuff done and like organizing stuff and doing like emails. And I cannot do emails without it. I've got like 17 people waiting for me to email them really important stuff. I don't know when I'll ever get to it because I don't like taking the Vyvanse. It hurts my neck.
The Vyvanse is Adderall for...
I don't know what it is. It's like an extended release version of Adderall, and it's for people with like eating disorders, I guess. And so I don't know why it's for eating disorders, but a lot of people with eating disorders will have it, or binge eating disorders. And so I get it because I guess I don't really know, but it is helpful for a lot of stuff. And it's like an amphetamine, I think.
One day she's gonna go to those manila files and be like, Rachel Foster,
you owe me $2 million.
Oh my!
Yeah, I had the wrong.
Yeah, you owe me $2 million.
Oh also, the last time I was there, she accidentally left me in the like waiting room with this other patient for way too long. The other patient started talking to me and was like, "Are you an Aries? I don't fuck with Aries at all." And we like got into like a weird, like she was like being really like vicious to me right away. And I was like, "Oh, so you deal with crazy people?" She was being so unkind.
Can you imagine she's like, you like that girl out there? I can give you what she's on. That's a little trailer of what's to come.
Oh. That I never know what to say when someone like either asks about your sign.
I know what
as a way of being like either way of like ooh, I don't really blah blah blah, or I get along. They're because they'll usually be like, I get along with Tauruses.
Yeah,
I hate it.
Cool.
I hate it. It makes me so uncomfortable because to me it's like going up to someone and saying, "Do you accept Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior?"
Yeah.
You've engaged me.
I don't know yet.
Yeah,
yeah.
I do, and it no matter what you do, it comes off like a fucking snobby thing. But I go, I'm not sure. I was born August 20th.
Good.
And that's my
helpful.
version of like, I'm not gonna
but
support
you do
this.
Know.
Of course I know.
It's not.
And then they say, "Oh, you're,"
because they'll always know. So
Also,
then they're gonna
like,
tell you you're just like delaying the process.
If it's true that my sign is like what I am and my heart and everything that there is to know about me, I'm not telling you.
Yeah.
I'm not telling some stranger on the
Sure.
street.
Oh,
That's my top
interesting.
secret business.
Yeah.
And you could use it against me if you're really smart. I don't really know that you are, but what if you like know how to manipulate an Aries with a Leo rising and a Gemini moon? What if I'm just right for you to like take advantage of my lifestyle?
Sure.
Yeah.
You must protect yourself.
It's become cliche to complain about astrology, and I think that's why I'm trying to articulate my complaint to be, it's not. If you want to believe in it, whatever. But like, I feel like have some shame about it, like some of the other religions do.
Yeah.
Where they don't. I mean, sure, there's some people
treat
Jewish,
it like a Scientologist.
but yes,
Yeah,
treat
like,
it like a Scientologist. Like
quiet
this is a
about it.
thing.
Yeah.
You don't have to bring it on everybody. It makes me me
And I think
uncomfortable.
when other people like are not like taking that you're uncomfortable with, like it's a consent thing. It's like if someone doesn't want to talk about something, even though it like seems snobby, it's like, oh, I don't believe. It's not even I don't believe in that. It's like I don't really feel like it doesn't connect with me. I don't want to talk about it, and it does make me uncomfortable because it feels like you're trying to know me in a way that like instead of just asking me questions about myself, and I'm an open book. Like just ask me the stuff that you're wondering. Am I really like avoidant? You can ask me that, or you'll find
Because
out in 2 weeks. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
there are enough people that are into it that you can then do it with them, and you can gauge that very quickly.
And they do it. It happens at yoga, and I go like, this is not part of the class that we all sign up for. And it's like if you walked in and said any other, hello class, thou shalt not kill anyone this morning. Let's go on to poses. It's just like that's not what I'm here for. And it just makes me uncomfortable.
Yeah, or
like I could be
finding out that the moon is gonna do evil stuff to me today. It's like that stresses me out.
See, we were.
I'm really worried today because you just said that the moon is doing something bad.
We're all like in some weird thing because the moon and Saturn's always involved.
However, every now and then, like
Saturn is
someone
always
will be like,
into things.
the moon is doing something weird, and I'm like, I know, because why did I just get a parking ticket and I got broken up with?
See, I'm like, let's not talk about astrology because it's bullshit. And you're like, let's not talk about astrology because it's scary how true it could be.
You're afraid of the future.
Mercury's coming for me right now. Don't speak too loud.
What time is it?
Sorry.
Why do you keep apologizing?
I have no idea. Just covering my bases.
Just apologizing for the passage of time?
Can I pee really fast?
Oh, yeah, you can pee. We'll talk about something.
We'll talk about
let's see. We have some stuff to talk about. Will you use first while I look at this? Can I say what really?
Yeah.
I wish I could monetize on Twitter so goddamn bad, and I can't because it would require being verified and paying Elon Musk money.
Oh. No.
And imagine how awful a person has to be for me to literally go like, no, I won't make money off my 9/11 tweet. That 9/11 tweet could have made like
how much?
I don't know the Twitter rates. It could be all over the place.
Yeah.
But let's just say $150.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's
for a 9/11 joke.
Could have paid for Twitter for 10 months, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like I wish there was some workaround, but there really isn't. You get that blue check mark, you're a loser.
You are a loser.
You're a loser. There's no way around
you're a
it.
loser. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry, man. That sucks for you.
Yeah. I saw one of those cyber trucks in New York.
I want to drive one so bad.
I know.
Oh, like the big ones?
Yeah, it was in New York. It was like on McDougal Street.
Uh-huh.
And
they are hilarious.
They're like tanks.
They're like tanks. That's what when I see them, I get the idea of like it's a cool thing.
It's a creepy
I
military,
look at it,
like
it's a military
fascist,
vehicle.
like
yeah.
they're
on McDougal
us.
Street.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
it
don't
looks like
it
the
at all.
future, like a sad future.
Yeah, the bad
future.
version.
A bad
But that's
future.
like
why
Eric Adams.
That's
dream.
why they show them. That's why they show like the exhibit. Look, 3 people trying to kick in the window couldn't break it. It's like, yeah. That's the poor people that you ran over their mom, and now they can't break it. And that's what you're really advertising.
Yeah.
If people want to come
when
for you,
it gets bad, like
when
it's
people
going
wake
to.
up, you'll be okay.
When the moon turns on you.
when people wake up, you can still be fast asleep. That should be
yeah.
in your Cybertruck. I drove a Tesla in LA because my friend let me drive hers. I immediately scratched it. Oops.
Ooh.
That's my bad, honestly. At the what is it called? Some mall. I was at the Erewhon at the mall. But I love driving it. I will say it's kind of smooth, and when you take your foot off the pedal, it starts braking, so it's like really smooth, but also kind of scary because like you're wondering why the car just like stops when you put. Anyway, it doesn't matter, but it is really stupid because there's no lever for the windshield wipers, and so it was like pouring rain in LA, which I guess never happens for most, but to me it did occur, and you have to like press 16 buttons on this like insanely bright screen while you're driving at hyper speed because people in LA drive so fast, and it's so dangerous.
Yeah. We rode in
But
producer Paige's boyfriend's Tesla. It was like
it was a cool Tesla.
It was crazy. It was
And
like
it's
doors
cool to
open.
have the window.
It was like
over,
yeah.
the gull windows. That's
giant
sexy.
screen.
The door opened like this, like a
Yeah,
side.
That is
like
so
it
cool.
raised up.
It's so cool. I
I had an
cannot
Uber
stand,
pick me up like that. I was like, you didn't need to do all this just for me.
I cannot stand the button door handles.
It's a
I know. I don't like
Handles,
that either.
They work great. They're working great
I like
for
a
me.
regular handle. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're like, you know.
Well, let's go on to our next segment. Uh-oh. Not so quick on the shift,
We
David.
did it
This has
last
gotta
time.
stop.
There we go.
This has got to. He did it last time.
Yeah.
Yeah, no points for that.
No, don't blame him.
He forgot to record this one, but he recorded the last one. No worries. What is? Do you have this? Do you have this guy stop? We'll start.
Yeah, let me pull
Wait,
it
what
up.
did it say?
Oh, right. You don't look at emails.
Sorry,
no,
I legit
know.
don't.
No, this has got to stop. This is something big, small, societal. I'll start. It could be personal. It could be big. Mine. This has got to stop. Is when people comment on like comedy videos and they go, "I laughed so hard I fell out of my chair." No, you fucking didn't. I've never
Send
seen.
me a video,
I've never
bitch.
seen. I've never seen. I laughed so hard I spit out my coffee. Oh no! Is your laptop okay?
Wait, I have to tell you about. I worked with a girl one time in like a theater, in a theater thing, in in college theater, and we were like talking, and someone made a joke, and she started laughing. She fell to the ground, and I was like, wait, what? Like, what's going on? You know, like, are you okay? And she was like, oh no, that like it's my thing. Like I laugh and I fall to the ground, and I was like, that's your thing. And then I saw someone. I met this other guy, and I told him about this crazy woman.
That's her
and
thing.
he goes, oh, she's still trying to make that work. He knew her from a theater thing before, and he's like, yeah, it's like she thinks it's cute. And I was like, but it was crazy. It required such a commitment to like, anytime you hear a joke that makes you laugh, you fall to the ground.
What if you guys think it's a bit and she's home alone, falling all the time?
Oh my God. She like, oh my God.
But anyways.
Did you ever have in like middle school, there was a kid in my class who just always was falling, not laughing. Like we would just all be sitting and he would just like, his chair would topple over. It was so weird. His name was Everett, and literally
No, I don't think this is a trope of school. This is a unique experience.
Was he tripping or like?
No, I don't know what was happening. He would just go down, and he was like always embarrassed about it. Like he wasn't like doing it for attention.
Well, yeah.
It was a strange thing. I feel like he had a balance problem or something.
Oh.
Anyway, maybe it was like a universal thing, but I'm learning that it's not. And it was just Everett. I hope he's well.
I hope
and
so
not
too.
falling too much.
Imagine how hard you would have to laugh right now
To fall
out
on
of
the
this
ground.
couch.
I
and
don't
onto
think
the
I've ever
floor.
fallen to the ground with laughter.
It's been so long since I like truly laughed so hard I like started crying even.
Yeah.
Actually, that's not true. It happened recently.
What episode of ours were you listening to?
I just fell to the ground right now. God, that would be exhausting.
Milk out of the nose. I've had like
Yeah,
where you
I
feel
like
like a
that.
little bit of
I
residue.
think when we did mushrooms in Joshua Tree, I had like a couple times the like where you can't breathe laughter.
I love that.
you know?
It's so nice to just like become like completely like the muse runs through you. You can't control
Yeah.
your body. It's like Rush.
Yeah.
It's all-
It's like a popper.
Of all the bits I wrote down from that weekend, I don't think a single one has made
You were
it.
writing a lot. You were writing a lot.
I was writing
You're
a
one
lot.
of the
I
most
brought a-
prolific writers in the legit universe. I do not understand how you make so many jokes so good all the time. It blows me away. You're like one of the best living comedians. I meant
Oh
to say
my
it earlier,
God, that's
but
so
I had to wait a
sweet.
little while.
Nice.
You're so good. It's crazy.
That's very sweet.
but I'm sure the bits are fine.
Nothing from the shrooms.
Okay, don't.
They were either like they were like so, you know, where it's with friends and you're like, oh, if you understood these first 10 pieces of information,
This would be
it's
so
the greatest joke of all
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Gianmarco was writing so much stuff down that I felt like I should write something or I should come up with an idea. And I've told this on the pod before, but the only idea that I had when we were doing this
Mhm.
was I was like, well, okay, think of a funny idea. Think of a funny idea. Think of a funny idea. And all that was making me laugh was imagining my 3 friends I was with, imagining them at my funeral. And how sad they would be, like just seeing their sad faces because they were so happy in that moment, and it was tickling me so much. And that was the only thing that was making me that I found funny. And but I
You
was
can't
I
use
love
that.
it that you make a
No.
sketch of that. You make a sketch
Yeah.
for our sketch team, and it's just us coming out and crying over
crying.
your dead body.
And, yeah, you're
You're
not
like,
discovering
"Guys,
my
this
dead
is
body. It was at a
hilarious."
funeral.
Oh, sure.
Anyways, my this guy stop is okay when people. They pride themselves that like I can't even stay up past 9 p.m. anymore, and they're like, and they want to like lord it over you, like because then they're like I get up so early and blah, blah. And then you're sometimes with them and it's like 10 or 11 and they're like bumps on a lot, like you're like. It's just like this thing of like it doesn't make it better that you wake up at 6 a.m. because guess what? No one's ever hanging out from
No.
6 to 8 a.m.
You're just alone.
So you're just
you
alone.
can go get coffee if you
and
like that.
like you're not better than me because you go to bed at 9 and you get up at 6. Because I'm still getting up between 8 and 9 in the morning, which is a respectable time
That's
to do that.
amazing.
And I can stay up till 1 or 2 and be a normal person who functions in an adult society. And so I just hate this thing because it always feels like there's a shame
A
around.
My
morality.
life, I have responsibilities.
Oh, I have responsibility. I have checkbooks, and I have, a daycare.
You're about to reveal how.
and,
You're like, I have a 401.
I have a 40.
Okay.
Yeah, but like it's just always meant to shame other people, and I just feel like because then I'm like I'm more than an adult because I can stay up past a kid's bedtime. You fucking idiot. Anyways, that's my thing.
Yeah, one of those where one specific person you should say that to.
No. I
know
feel
what
like
you
it happens a lot. Like it's like also what I don't actually like about it too is it happens sometimes when people are in their 30s and already talking that way. And I was like, you're gonna live the rest of your life being an old person? Like you're in your 30s and you've already been like, I'm old now. I'm over the hill. Like cool. So you're just gonna do that the next 60 years? What the fuck, man?
Here's a sister to that one of where people go, oh, you gotta watch this TV show. Oh, I don't have time for a TV show. And I'm like, and I'm closer to like making that mistake of saying that thing. Yeah. But it's like, yeah, you can.
Yeah.
You got time.
Because then they know everything about like pop culture too. Like I feel they're like, did you hear about this thing? And it's like some dumb thing. Like who cares about it? You know? They have time. Everyone has time to watch TV.
Do you have this kind of stuff?
She's like TV.
People who say that you have time to watch a TV show because some of us are living different. FY legit I am busy. I actually haven't watched like TV in like maybe 2 years, but I know I have time. It's just like in my phone.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? If I didn't go on there, then. But I also like haven't been home really for more than like 2 hours, other than to sleep, in like almost a year now, because things are picking back up.
She can't stay up past 8 p.m.
Yeah. Totally. Just like as an Aries. Something that what's it called?
This has got to stop.
This has got to stop. Oh, okay, so something that I don't like is that I wish there was a way to leave. They need to stop notifying everyone when you leave a group chat, because I really have a lot of group chats that I don't want to be in, but I don't want to like cause the drama of being like Rachel Coster has left the group chat, and I also don't want to like announce it and be like, hey guys, like I love you. I just don't want to hear like every single thought that you have all day, because it's exhausting and my phone keeps buzzing, and I'm trying to like set an alarm.
You want to Irish exit,
but
yes,
you can like mute it. You can.
It's not enough. Like I don't even want to know it exists. It's like
then
so
it adds
stressful.
to your thing. You see that,
and then I see I have 100 messages. I get completely terrified. Yeah, it's a nightmare.
No,
and then I'm like, are any of these important? Can you just text me individually if I need to know about anything in there? Because otherwise, it's like I don't want to read that at all. And so I think it's just like when your technology tells on you, or when when you if you're like collabed on a post on Instagram and you uncollab because you're just like, I just don't want this on my grid anymore, because like you can archive stuff that you post. Sorry, this is like me being such a boring loser, but like you can archive the stuff that you post, but if someone else puts you in something, then like you cannot archive that, and it's just sitting there. And if you like want to curate a lifestyle or type of brand or whatever, you cannot. Sorry for saying that. I know.
No, true, right.
All the air.
No, let me push back. Not push back fully.
I can handle it.
I think there is like a degree. It's not a full slight when someone that does an episode doesn't accept a collab.
Mm-hmm.
When someone won't even do a story share of a full episode, and again, this is no pressure on you. This is not
Guys,
me. This is not
I
me
will
trying
legit
to
share anything. I won't collab post sometimes unless I'm really funny in it, but I will always share.
I understand the
unless
collab
I
post.
look really ugly. Do I look really ugly?
No.
Good.
I just think like there's all sorts of like little manners things that everyone's figuring out, and I truly try to not like be too hurt, but I think once in a while when someone won't even share it on their story just once of one thing, and I think
who is it?
I think I caption these clips and I edit these clips and I
really
paid
hard
for the cameras and just one story share. If there's nothing, my honest thing is I do go, okay, I will never speak to you again.
Completely.
No,
it's not that. But I'm like, well, you're not coming back on the podcast.
Yeah.
Certainly
no
not.
No story share.
No story share.
And I get it, because the truth is, when I don't story share, even story share a podcast episode, I don't respect that person.
Yeah.
Totally.
I didn't want to do that podcast. I wasn't happy with the product.
The only reason I wouldn't share something is if I look completely horrible in a way that is like, no one will ever fuck me again. Or if I say something that is like something that I'm like more secretive about. But I haven't said anything so secretive on this podcast, so I'll share legit anything. Unless I, of course, look hideous, which we covered that I don't, etc. Yeah. And so I'll share legit anything that you send my way. And I think that's just like kind of manners. And like when people don't, it is really hurtful. Or like if they just like, it can say like, hey, I'm not going to share this, but it's like because of this, or like I'm only trying to promote this one thing. I don't want to get cluttered, which doesn't really make sense. But if you said that, I'd be like, sure, no problem. But there's so much stuff on the internet where it's like, it's hard to figure out the rules and what's cool. Like someone thumbs up a message I sent, and I was like, are you mad at me? And they're like, oh, I just thought that's like how you say like, I read this, that's great. But I was like, no, I was like, that's passive aggressive to me, and it feels so it's like I think that's like a generational thing, not to like put us in different zones. But I think that you are probably like a little older than me, if not a lot older than me. I don't really know. It's like not easy to tell. But yeah, that's like a cult. Like I think like millennials are like thumbs up, but like Gen Z are like, that's so awesome. Yes, slay mama. I will be there, honey. I love you, girl. Yes, awesome. God,
yeah.
And like
well, I think
different.
it is annoying. Like I feel a need, especially with Tova, where like of a hearting of the last thing said.
Yes.
Like that's the final punctuation.
Yes, because otherwise it's like so scary. It's like, should I say something else?
Yeah, and it just gets to a point where I'm like, the heart means nothing.
Yeah.
Buddy, the heart is nothing. I've given the heart to everyone.
It is funny when the generational things, because I agree. I'm a big liker of like, hey, so I'm texting with my boss. He's like, can you do this? Blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yes.
Someone's here.
Oh, where are they?
Someone's here?
Yeah.
Is someone there? Oh, okay. Yeah, keep going. Keep going with the pod.
Okay.
This is live.
So I was saying, but like if I'm texting my boss and he, oh, sorry, we don't usually have guests. Okay, so and they're asking basically me to do something. I will do the thumbs up, like, yes, got it, we'll do that. And then sometimes I'm asking them to do something and they'll respond with like a sure with no punctuation. And I feel like that's, to me, is like, okay.
Yeah, it's like, you fucking hate me, you want me dead.
What's wrong?
It's
Why
so
are you mad about
stressful.
it? But it's just, yeah, it's interesting. I never would have thought that that's a weird thing to.
And I don't think it is. Like, I think like it's just everyone has like different ideas, and usually you have to like use like context clues to be like, I don't think they would be mad about me saying like I'll be there at 7. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think that's something that anyone could possibly get mad about. It's just the like immediate thing that you get worried about or something. But
can you imagine if we never saw Gianmarco
I
again?
legit wonder what happened. I was like, what if it's a really bad guy who's like gonna storm in here and like beat the shit out of all of us? Because that would be so easy to do, except they would be obviously outnumbered, and we would but unless it was a gang or like a huge group of people.
Well, one time with the door knocked while we were having a podcast, and there was the guy, and he was a landlord, I think, and he said it's important. And Gianmarco said, "Well, what we're doing here is important." So we'll get to
I didn't say that callously.
You did. We have a video of it. It's like it was a shocking moment for him to be like, "Your landlord being, it's important. Let me in," and you being like, "Oh, we'll deal with it later." I was like, "What if the building is on fire? What if there's a gas leak?"
No, but the problem is that I feel like there's sometimes with some apartment stuff where the landlord or whatever, they schedule things. They do not give a flying fucking shit if you have anything to do. And they'll show up with a crew and they're like, hey, we have this crew there. They got to check it out right now. And I'm like, only having a place here doesn't mean you can just come in whenever you got to give me some heads up.
Yeah. I don't like that at all. It's your zone. This is your area.
Well, so this is my neurotic brain. So some guy says he couldn't get into the back building, so I let him in the two things. And there's a part of me that goes, hey, he's here to murder someone, and I just let him through the only line of defense to protect.
Why did he stop at our door? Just he heard us?
He's a fan of the pod, and he just wanted to meet us and interrupt. Let's go on to our final segment.
You better count your blessing.
You better count your blessing. This is where we say something that we're grateful for. We had a nice negative episode, something specific that we're thankful for, big, small, grand, minute. What's your blessing? Do you want to go?
You go first.
No.
Yeah, you had something.
I was just going to say thank God for my psychiatrist who lets me basically do whatever I want. But I want something real. I'll say the truth.
Yeah.
I'm thankful to be healthy. I'm thankful to be getting a car. I'm thankful that the beach is hot now and we can go to it. I'm thankful that it's summer. It's the best season in the entire world. And I am thankful to that they have Ubers and Lyfts in the city, because otherwise how would I get to stuff sometimes, especially late at night? Yes, when I get into I love Curb. Curb is a little harder for calling people, but when you get into an existing cab that's right in front of you and link up, it is awesome because it can be so cumbersome to have to like plug in all your information as you're like trying to exit a car, and you also are stressed for the driver because you don't want them getting beeped at while you like figure out how much to tip them, etc. So it is awesome to just sync some numbers up.
That's how I know I have ADD. Those so many times I'm like, get in, and I'm like, I'm gonna put in the number before I get home, and then you get home and you're like,
you completely forget.
Too late.
Yeah. And you're on a really fast moving street. Is it hard to get Ubers here? No, it's no problem.
Do you have a blessing?
Yeah, I'm blessing. I'm gonna bless someone. No,
New segment.
My blessing is so I've been really loving my balcony lately, and I think because usually I haven't had our roof access because they're redoing it, so I've been like on the balcony more, and it's been like really nice in the mornings and then in the evenings to like spend an hour out there in quiet, and it's like nice to have your coffee, and it's like, oh, why don't I do this more? I mean, like I use it, but like it's been nice to really use it. And like it feels so relaxing to like work out there too and do some
It's like
and
Parisian.
it's been awesome. And it faces the park and it's such a quiet street. And I was like, oh man, like what have I been doing? Why haven't I been using this as much as I could be using it?
I'm so happy for you.
It's been nice. And the weather's been
Which part?
Perfect.
Actually, you don't have to dox yourself.
That's okay. I feel like actually if I said it, it would be, but I think I've said it before.
Yeah.
I live in Inwood.
Okay, cool.
All the way up.
Find him, guys. Find him.
Find me. You find me. You drive.
If you're a Patreon member, if you're a Patreon member and you can find where Russell lives, you have access to his roof. Patreon.com/downside. Will you do me a favor? Because I know you're gonna throw a party there or whatever.
Yeah.
Can you play on one like
when you're around?
Yeah. I want to go I want to have one night there. I'll bring oysters.
No,
I'll bring something to make
I'll have
my
to do probably like a Monday through Wednesday for you. Probably.
Yeah.
In there. Yeah.
But I'll make it worth.
No, of course. I can't wait to reset it up. I've been just waiting for them to fucking finish it.
Awful lifestyle I've chosen. Mine is I went thrift shopping, but it was on the street. It was like a guy. He had like clothing racks on the street.
Those are the best.
And I try to get more shirts because with all the clips, I'm like, well, this shirt's done.
Yeah, you have to.
And I got Tova's really
that
pushing
one is
me.
awesome.
Tova's really pushing me to do a bigger. Should like go with the style to looser shirts and whatever.
Uh-huh.
And he literally had 10 ballet shirts. And like, if thank God Tova was there, I would have bought 10 ballet shirts. And Tova's like, one, and that's cool. And I got so many great shirts. And the worst thing about vintage stores is when you find a shirt that's perfect, but there's a stain, and you're like, "That's too big. It's too big. I can't."
Yeah.
But God, it was just like I found 8 shirts, and it's RB selling stuff. Find it on Instagram. RB selling stuff.
RB selling stuff.
Recently, oh my God, there was a shirt that I was looking at in November. It was orange and it fit me amazing. Just a regular vintage t-shirt, but it cost $75. And I was like, well, I'm not going to do that. But then I went a week ago and the guy was like, hey, I'm like leaving the shop. If you want to like buy any of my stuff, it's like whatever, we can cut a deal. And his shirt was still there. It was the orange shirt that I wanted so bad, and he gave it to me for $25.
Wow.
And sometimes you wait for something, you wish for something for so long that God grants you a miracle.
I was in Europe. I was in Dublin, and I went to a thrift store, and they had a shirt hanging that was cool. And I said, "Can I have that shirt?" And they said, "That shirt's not for sale." And I was like, "Hey, buddy, what would make it for sale?"
Yeah,
totally.
And he's like, "I gotta talk to the boss." Goes up, comes down, and goes, 40 euros. And I'm like, fucking done, dude. Fucking done.
You bought the
whole
store. You're like, I'll buy the whole store, man.
Oh my God, that rocks.
I really think like Sundays with vintage, I'm like, go. Because I've gotten stuff overseas where I'm like, it's way cheaper.
Yeah,
I'm like, you should
like,
do all your vintage shopping overseas.
Yeah.
Because
you sound that sentence sounds
it's
so
just so much cheaper to go to
everyone
Paris.
should just do all their vintage shopping overseas. Yeah, listen, I'm telling you right now, book a private jet to Paris and then
But I remember my sister who works at Celine in LA, she brought me to a thrift store, and I'm walking around the thrift store and they say, "Would you like a free glass of champagne?" And I'm like, we got to get out of this thrift store immediately. Yeah. And their shirts, regular shirts, no, $500. Like
crazy.
Insane. Well, you're there to like mingle with other rich people. It's insane.
Of course.
Yeah.
I was having like a
Disgusting.
Jamiroquai like last summer, and I really wanted a Jamiroquai shirt, and they're $500 minimum. For the originals, kill yourself.
Wow.
I'm
That
spilling
sucks.
too much stuff on my clothes to be fucking with that.
Me too.
Oh my God. So this is coming out June 25th. What would you like to plug?
Guys, may you please come to 9 a.m. show June 30th at 9 a.m. in Herbert Von King Park at the amphitheater. It's going to be so much fun. I don't have any coffee or breakfast, but we'll go get stuff afterwards and maybe we'll go to the beach.
What is this, a comedy show?
I do a comedy show at 9 a.m. and it used to be at 8 a.m., but I did listen to my fans and they said push it back an hour. And so Now it's at 9 a.m. Still insanely early for a Sunday morning, and it is awesome. This one's like Pride Edition, so everyone's gay or lesbian, transgender, bisexual, etc. And it's going to be off the charts fun. And also, I think I'll have like a show in July that you should come to. I don't know the dates yet, but check it out because I really need people to come and listen to and watch Boy Room, and follow me on Instagram because I'm really trying to get the followers up. It would be so awesome to be like world famous, I guess.
Sure.
But it's not really why I do it. I do it for like the love of the game. And shoot me a text if you have my number because it would be nice to hear from you.
Oh,
but if you don't have my number, I like can't really give it to you.
No, you can't.
It's
you
too
get
late.
on the Patreon, patreon.com/downside.
Thank you guys so much.
Of course. What do you want to?
I'll plug. Follow me at Russell J Daniels on Instagram, and then our tour coming up.
Yes.
Our tour,
July 23rd, 24th, 25th, 26th. 23rd is I don't know the order.
I was so confident you were going.
You were amazing.
July
23rd
is.
I was like about to buy a ticket.
I don't know the order.
Oh my God!
Don't sweat. I would imagine it goes in order of
okay,
like
I got it
how
here.
the states work.
July 23rd is DC.
DC.
So a lot of people in Baltimore. It's DC's
It's a
close
Tuesday
enough.
night. Tuesday night.
You got nothing else going on. I know you guys.
The 24th is
Medford.
Is basically Boston. On the 24th. 25th.
All the way. Note to my manager. It says Medford, Pennsylvania.
Okay. Well, it's not. It's Massachusetts. 25th is that got to be Philly then. Because then on the 26th it is here in New York City Winery. We need you at all of these shows. All four. If everyone from every state could come to all four of the shows. If we just had 250 of the same people, that's all we really would need for them to come to four shows in a row. That'd be great.
And it's gonna be everything. We gotta there's gonna be a cool thing at the end.
Yep.
I'll do some stand up. Russell's gonna do a character.
Have some special guests.
Have a special guest.
We have some bits.
Check it out.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna get your psychiatrist's name after this. Fuck Elon Musk always. And I always think I'm gonna have something really clever to say at the end of this.
A sad thing.
And listen, guys. There's no shame if your room looks like a piece of shit. Yeah. I used to be like you. And trust me, one day you will fall in love with a nice woman and she'll fix it all for you. This is The Downside.
1, 2, 3. Downside. You're listening to The Downside.
The Downside.
With Gianmarco Soresi.